Okay, so this video is on using trig ratios to find unknown angle measures. So our goals, I can use inverse of sine, cosine, tangent to solve for an unknown angle measure of a right triangle. And then I can draw right triangles that describe real world problems, label the sides and angles with their given measures, and solve for any unknown measures. So we're going to do one real world problem today, and then we're going to use we're going to find some angle measures. So, our essential understanding. If you know the sine, cosine, or tangent ratio of an angle, you can use the inverse of the ratio. We call this sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse to find the measure of an angle. Okay, so the inverse is something that is the opposite. So think about addition and subtraction. Those are inverses of each other. Multiplication and division, inverses. Squaring something and taking the square root of something, those are inverses. So now with trig, we have trig inverses. Okay, they undo each other. So in this problem, okay, here is our reference angle. We don't know what that angle is, but we can find it using trig. So with 15 is across from the angle, so that's your opposite. Your right angle is across from your 24 sides, so that's your hypotenuse. So remember, so kotoa, goes with sine. So this is sine, deals with opposite and hypotenuse. So the sine of x, the sine of our angle measure, is equal to 15 over 24. It's equal to opposite or hypotenuse. So we want sine to be all by, we want to just get x all by itself. So here's where your sine inverse comes in. So what you're going to do is you're going to take sine inverse to both sides of your fraction. Sorry if you already wrote this. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Remember when you solve equations, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So to get x by itself, you do sine inverse. And what happens is your inverse sine and your sine undo each other. So we end up getting x by itself equal to the sine inverse of our ratio. So in your calculator, I think I still have it in here from the other day. Okay, so here's your calculator. Now, see how, oh my little, it doesn't let me just, hold on. It won't let me erase it, but you can kind of see it in this picture, not very well, but right above it, it has the inverse. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit second. Okay, here's the second button, and then you're going to hit sine. And then it's going to come up sine -1. Okay, and that's where you're going to type your fraction. So this one is really important that you have parentheses on yours. If you're not using the school calculator, sometimes you might see something say like a sine or arc sine. Those are just other ways of saying sine inverse. So on my problem, let me show you my screen. So here is my calculator up here. So I'm in degree mode, and then on mine, see how it has the a sign? So that's sine inverse. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit shift, then you're going to hit sine. So mine comes up arc sine, that's inverse sine, and then I'm going to do my fraction, and that gets me my angle measure. So x is equal to 38.7, because remember we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, let's do our next one. So here is our reference angle. Across from it is our opposite. Across from the right angle is our hypotenuse, so that makes 8 are adjacent. Okay, so think about the side that kind of makes your angle is your adjacent. So we're working with adjacent hypotenuse, which is for SOHCAHTOA, adjacent hypotenuse. So we're going to be using cosine. So the cosine of x is equal to 8 over 11. Same thing as the last problem. We can undo cosine with the inverse of cosine. Okay, so when you do cosine to both, inverse cosine to both sides, our cosines cancel, leaving us with just x. So now x is equal to the cosine of x is equal to the inverse cosine of 8/11. So in your calculator, you're going to do second or shift, get your inverse cosine, 8 divided by 11. So we get x is equal to 43.3. And these are degrees, right? We're finding angle measures. Okay, our next one, x is right here. Across from our x is our opposite side. The side that makes part of our angle is our adjacent side, and across from our right angle is our hypotenuse. So we don't really need our hypotenuse this time, but we are working with, this is TOA, tangent. Okay, so the tangent of x is equal to 7/5. So just like sine and cosine, there is inverse tangent. So when you take the inverse tangent of both sides, okay, your inverse tangent and your tangent cancel each other out. So we get x is equal to the inverse tangent of 7/5. So let's put that in our calculator. So I hit shift or second, and we get our tangent of 7/5. So x is equal to 54.5 degrees. Okay, so here's our first 3 examples. If you are getting different numbers, make sure you have it's inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent. Okay, make sure it has that little -1 in your calculator. Another thing, make sure you are in degree mode. So when you do your tangent of 45, are you getting 1? If you got 1, then you're good, you're in degree mode. You should see a DEG on your calculator for degree, or even just the letter D for degree. So you'll see like a D, DEG, you might even see the whole word degree, but you should see something letting you know that your calculator is in degree mode, not radians mode. Okay, in our next problem, we are given all the sides. We need to find the measure of angle A. So that makes angle A our reference angle. So across from our A is our opposite. Across from the right angle is our hypotenuse. And then our remaining side is our adjacent. So with this problem, we could use either sine, cosine, or tangent to solve since we have all of our angle measures. So we could write the sine of A is equal to 5/13. Or you could write cosine of A is equal to 12/13. Or tangent of A is equal to 5/12. All 3 of these are going to get you your measure for angle A. So we could end up having A is equal to sine inverse sine of 5/13, or A is equal to the inverse cosine of 12/13, or A is equal to the inverse tangent of 5/12. Either one of these equations is going to get you A. So in our calculator, let's do it. So we get inverse sine of 5/13. So that gives us A is 22.6. Inverse cosine of 12/13. 22.6. Inverse tangent of 5/12. 22.6. So what I'm saying here is that when you have all three angles, you can pick any of our trig functions, or all three side lengths, you can pick any of the trig functions to find your missing angle. We could even solve for angle C using trig. So all that matters is that we have our ratios in the correct order, that our opposites is 5, that our hypotenuse is 13, and our adjacent is 12. If you get any of those mixed up, you won't get the right angle measure. Okay, so our last problem now. So this diagram shows a wheelchair ramp connecting to the ground to a platform of 4.5 feet off the ground. The ramp is 11.75 feet long, and the ramp must be at an angle of 5 degrees or less to be ADA compliance. So ADA, that is Americans Disability Act. So that means everyone in public spaces have the, have legal rights to it, so they need to be accommodated as such. So this just means they have their legal accommodations. So that means this angle right here needs to be 5 degrees or less than 5 degrees. So let's see, this is going to be our x. We're trying to solve for this angle. So what we're given is opposite and hypotenuse. So this is going to be sine of x is equal to 4.5 over 11.75. So to remember, to get rid of sine, we're going to be using inverse sine. So x is equal to the inverse sine of 4.5 over 11.75. So I did skip a step. Do you guys see? So instead of doing all of this work where we write the sign on there twice, I just went straight to writing the sign for our fraction and having x by itself. So inverse sine of 4.5 divided by 11.75 gets us x equaling 22.5. So that is our angle measure. So this is 22.5. 22.5 is not less than 5 degrees. So is this ADA compliant? No. It is not 5 degrees or less. Our angle was 22.5 degrees. Okay, so then our homework is going to be finishing the page from yesterday. So here's a calendar. So this is yesterday's homework, but now you're going to be doing the back side where it says angles. Okay, so now you're going to be doing the back and solving for angle measures. And there's the answer bank down here, so you can be checking your answers as you solve. Okay? Once you're done with that, then you're going to be doing the next part of the Facing Math worksheet. So you're going to be doing the back page. You're going to be solving 13 through 27. When you're done, you should be able to get a face. Drawing the face is extra credit. So like as you solve a problem, like say number 5, as you solve number 5, if whether you get A or B tells you what type of smile to draw. So when you go through, you'll be checking boxes A or B, A or B, A or B, and by the end, you should have everything for your face. And if you want to draw the face, it is 5 points of extra credit bonus. So some of you are asking, is there extra credit opportunities coming up? Yes, there is. Here is one of them. Draw your face. Okay, color it in, draw the face, make it look nice. And then here's a look ahead. We'll be having a quiz on the 10th. So if you're watching this video in the future, sorry, but in 2023, there is a quiz on March 10th.